Welcome to our Kyoto, Japan vlog. Kyoto has always been my favorite city. It is filled with beautiful architecture and gardens and the vast number of temples and castles, where you can just immerse yourself in the beauty of the history and culture. Not to mention, matcha and red bean was created in Kyoto, which is why you can find the best red bean and matcha in this area. We arrived in Kyoto mid-afternoon and headed straight to the hotel to check in our bags. Kyoto has a special place in our heart, so we decided to splurge a little bit on this hotel. And as you can see, the hotel is beautiful with a garden in the middle. Our hotel was conveniently 10 minutes away from the Gion district, so we decided to go for a stroll. Gion is the entertainment district of Kyoto, aka the geisha district. It is infamous for its bright lanterns and where you can find the best performances and shows. Just aimlessly strolling around the area, we came across so many beautiful restaurants and shops that we wanted to go into. We were quite hungry at this point, but we wanted a great first meal in Kyoto, so it took us some time to find one. We strolled around for about an hour and a half, and we finally found the one. Although Kyoto isn't exactly known for okonomiyaki or takoyaki, this is more so Osaka, but we thought this was the cutest little shop, so we hopped on in. Definitely no regrets in this restaurant because this was one of the best meals that we had. Kid you not, this whole restaurant was less than 300 square feet. I wasn't kidding about how efficient Japanese people are with their space. They were able to fit in a full-size kitchen, a bathroom, and 7 seats. Yes, it was super cramped and everybody was sitting shoulder to shoulder, but that was all part of the experience. We started off with drinks and I got the plum wine with soda, and kid you not, this was so good. Kenneth got the beer on tap, and that was delicious as well. For food, we ordered the yaki udon and the mixed okonomiyaki. As you can see, they cook it right in front of you, just like a teppanyaki experience. But the best part is eating off the pan. We just got to Kyoto and had our first meal in Gion, and we had yaki udon and okonomiyaki, and it was really good. Highly recommend. I've had okonomiyaki before in Japan and it wasn't as good. It was very salty. It didn't have much flavor to it, but this had a lot of depth and flavor. It was tangy, it was sweet, it was savory. It was really good. How did you like it?
It was pretty well cooked. They made it so quick and it was really crunchy. Some parts of it, but they really did well.
Yeah, you watch them make it like right in front of you and stuff, and it's like the smallest little shop, and somehow they're able to squeeze everything in one area. So yeah, it was really cool. We opted in for the breakfast at this hotel and no regrets. There were so many options to choose from, including Japanese traditional breakfast and some Western breakfast selections as well. The best part about Japanese breakfast is that it includes small dishes that you can try a little bit of everything. We really enjoyed this breakfast experience as you can make your own. As you can see in the clips, Kenneth added the soy sauce and green onion to the tofu, and here he is making his own udon curry. He is boiling his noodles for about 2 seconds, and then he added the curry and also dashi broth, and topped it off with a ton of green onions. The curry was so flavorful and had so much depth and texture in it. Highly recommend to try. They had a ton of other options like dumplings and Japanese side dishes with a bread and salad bar on the side. The dessert bar was definitely my favorite since I'm very into sweets, and here you can see I added powdered sugar into my pancakes and made my own red bean wafer. There were other traditional Japanese dessert options like mochi and chestnut desserts. After breakfast, we made our way to Hokan-ji Temple. We knew this is a top tourist destination, so we decided to go earlier. We left around 9 o'clock and got there around 10. It is known if you want really good photos, you will have to arrive at least 6 or 7 a.m. When we arrived, it was busy, but you were able to get some photo opportunities if you just wait at that spot. Have to be quick, but we did get a few really good photos and videos. I have never been there before and didn't understand what the hype was, but now I get it. This entire area was filled with traditional restaurants and shops with beautiful exteriors where they kept the traditional look. Just wandering the streets, you can find hidden gems like this one. We found a little shop that specializes in Japanese sweets like mochi and pancakes, and the 2 items that we got were very delicious. Again, with the daifuku, we obviously had to try one. The mochi on the outer layer was very soft and chewy, with the juiciest strawberry in the middle. It was very flavorful and delicious, but to be honest, I do prefer the red bean. Next, we tried the red bean cream pancake, and my reaction says it all.
Oh my god, it's so good. It's so soft and pillowy. And the red bean has such a good sweet flavor. A little bit of the cream you can see on the inside. And it kind of mellows out the flavor a little bit, and there's a really pungent red bean taste to it.
On top of that, the shop was located in this little garden. We continued walking for hours and did not get tired. There were so many cool shops and gardens to check out, it was endless. I feel like it was a whole experience visiting this area. There are several kimono rental shops in the area where you can see here that people are dressed up in kimonos. I mentioned this in the Tokyo vlog, but you can rent these kimonos for about $50 to $60 Canadian, and that includes an updo, the kimono, shoes, and accessories, so either an umbrella or a purse. Kenneth and I have done this before and it's definitely worth it. Make sure you do some research ahead of time, but there are shops that offer you a tea ceremony experience. Make sure you book these ahead of time because we didn't have a chance to and we missed out. You can find these experiences on Klook. Continuing on our path, we came across the iconic Starbucks. This Starbucks is made inside a traditional Japanese house that features beautiful little gardens throughout the cafe and rooms specifically catered to tatami floors. I love how Starbucks preserved the traditional look of this house and kept its historical elements throughout the home. The Starbucks has 2 floors. You order your drink downstairs and then you head on upstairs to enjoy it. There are a ton of little rooms and nook and crannies, so make sure you do a little tour before you sit down. Just a few steps away is a Ghibli shop. There were so many cute displays around the whole shop that it felt like a mini museum. This is an iconic Japanese character and one of the best places to get souvenirs. As you walk in, you are greeted by the biggest Ghibli, and this is a photo op opportunity.
Oh wow.
For the Spirited Away fans, there's a whole section of it. There is even a cafe in the back with a garden, and it was a beautiful garden where you can enjoy your coffee outside. Continuing on, we were heading for Hokan-ji Temple. This is where you want to go if you want to go through a bamboo forest without all the crowds. After a couple hours of walking and many distractions along the way, we finally made it to Hokan-ji Temple. The bamboo forest was definitely smaller than Arashiyama and the bamboos were more sparse, but as you can see here, there was nobody here. This is a hidden gem for photo opportunities without everyone around. Please note there was a small fee of about $5 Canadian, but totally worth it. We obviously kept walking and stumbled upon this really cute matcha shop. It was freezing on this day. I think it was -3 degrees and we were already very cold, but I wish it was warm enough for us to sit outside. This mini area in the corner was the cutest spot. They sold a bunch of snacks, including mochi and ice cream. It was around 2 or 3 o'clock by this time, so we decided to sit down and have some matcha and dessert. At first, we were a little hesitant just because there was no one in the shop, but we went in there anyways. And it ended up being one of the best desserts that I've ever had. It was very unique. I've never had this experience before, but pretty much it was matcha with mochi and red bean, with a chestnut as well. The flavor of the matcha was very pungent with some sweetness in the red bean and chewiness from the mochi. It was the perfect dessert. Our tickets to the bamboo forest also gave us access to the Kodaiji Show Museum, so we went in there and we weren't able to film, but if you have some time, I would hop on in just to check it out. Next, we headed over to Shinkyogoku Shopping Street for some snacks, dinner, and of course, shopping. This area had endless amount of shops and restaurants for you to choose from. We passed by this Taiwanese chicken stall, and of course, Kenneth had to get some. This Taiwanese chicken is known for it being so big that it's bigger than your face. The main flavor is from the Chinese 5-spice, and this is so delicious and crunchy. As you can see here, Kenneth was a happy man. This area is known to be Kyoto's shopping district. We passed by so many specialty shops like this one making their own pancake, mini flower shops, souvenir shops, and even used luxury goods. But this is the main attraction that we came to, is Nishiki Market. Nishiki Market is infamous for its wide array of options for seafood, tempura, sashimi, wagyu, tangulu, Kobe beef, melon pen. You get the point. Yes, before you ask, Nishiki Market is infamous for its high prices since it's a tourist trap, but to be honest, it's worth it. You get to try a little bit of everything and you don't have to spend too much money on one item. There were so many options, it was overwhelming. If you're going to come here, make sure you come here hungry and make sure you bring cash. There's a lot of restaurants and shops that do not take credit. Walk down the entire alley of the market. It would take you about 15 to 20 minutes, but this is worth it to do because you can isolate which items you want to try first. Like I said, this is a tourist trap, so there will be a lot of shops to try to lure you in, but make sure you choose the one that you actually want to try. We obviously couldn't help it, but when we came across this daifuku stand, we had to buy some. The prices were quite reasonable, so we ended up taking a box home. Highly recommend this. This daifuku was very, very flavorful with a ton of red bean on the inside, as you can see, and the mochi was chewy and soft. Not all the flavors were the best, so make sure you choose wisely. Have you ever seen a market inside a market? This is what Nishiki Retro Yokocho is. This is a great spot with multiple options, just like outside in Nishiki Market, but there's areas that you can sit and eat. Next up, we tried the toro sushi. Yes, the toro sashimi would have been better, but Kenneth would prefer to have rice, so we decided to get this instead. The tuna was so fresh and flavorful, it was really good. One thing that Nishiki Market does well is using torches to cook their food. Many beef varieties are cooked with the torch to give you that crispy top and also raw underlayer. I've heard about Ko Donuts before, but I didn't expect it to look like a franchise shop. The shop was massive. It was probably around 2,000 square feet. There were multiple donut options, including vegan options as well. There were Japanese and Asian flavors, but also Western flavors. Just outside of the main shopping street, there is Kyoto Onimaru. Onigiri is one of Japanese most popular food, and we were on the hunt for the best rice ball. 7-Eleven's is okay, but this is way, way better. They make all the onigiris fresh from the back, and you can see the kitchen. All the onigiris are fresh and still hot. There were so many flavors to choose from. It was so difficult to choose, but we ended up getting a bunch. There is an eating area upstairs, so you can bring your onigiris upstairs to enjoy. There is a tea and water dispenser, so you're welcome to use that.
chewy. There's a hint of sesame oil in it that gives it that aroma. The egg is really good, kind of savory, paired with the salmon, which is actually like a smoky flavor. It tastes really good with everything else paired together. And there's a little bit of sauce in between too, and that kind of gives it that umami flavor as well, on top of the fish roe. Really good.
After a long day of walking, we headed back to the hotel. The hotel provided small number of snacks and drinks. The unique part was the sake tasting, umami broth tasting, and beverages like flavored water and teas. These are the mochi desserts that we brought home from the daifuku shop. The strawberry daifuku and the green tea mochi was the best. The other two was alright. The next morning, we woke up bright and early to go to Kinkaku-ji Temple as it does get very busy. There is a street full of food and restaurants as well, and we ended up going into a matcha shop. There is a twist to the traditional matcha, which is roasted matcha, and it comes in this brownish color, and boy, it was so good as well. Yeah? She gets that face though. Roasted green matcha milk tea. That's where it's at.
It's actually really good.
Let's try mine now. It was about a 10-minute walk to the temple, and there is an entrance fee. But again, so worth it. Look at the view of this temple. There is no access to inside the temple as they are trying to preserve it, but I think the outside view is enough. The temple is quite small itself, but it stands out because of its gold color. It is surrounded by a scenic view of a beautiful garden and pond where you can even catch fish swimming in the pond. Such a beautiful pond. The temple is surrounded by a trail that lasts about 30 minutes, and there are many statues and monuments to see as well. We came across this little shop that had charms that have a different meaning to each of them. So we bought 2 of them for 2 dogs we have at home and a happiness charm. Approaching the end of the trail, we stumbled upon a tourist area which has a ton of souvenirs and goods that you can purchase. Right outside the store, there was a little stand selling baked rice cakes, and I had to try it. I believe it was $1 Canadian for each cake, and it was so good.
Is there red? Oh, there's red bean. Very good. Nice.
This katsu shop was only a couple steps away from the matcha shop, but boy, this was the best katsu I've ever had. Yo, this is the real stuff. There's steps to it. So you grind sesame seeds, and then you add the sauce to the sesame seeds, and you eat it with the tonkatsu. So we got filet, cutlet, and shrimps. It's the first one there on the lunch menu. This place is unreal. The pork is so tender. And it's so crispy on the outside. The tartar sauce is so good. The salad dressing, oh my god, the sesame flavor is so good. Yeah, I've never had sesame and katsu before. This changes the game. And their miso soup, it's like a soy sauce based miso soup, so there's a lot more flavor, and they put a lot more ingredients inside of it. So it's not just soybean paste and water. Oh my god. This is one of the best meals. We saved the best for last, but pretty much this is the crab croquette. Oh my god, it's so creamy. And there's a lot of crab flavor. So good. Next stop, we headed over to Arashiyama. Arashiyama is known for its bamboo forest that could take about 20 to 30 minutes to walk through. The views of the bamboo forest is breathtaking, but this place is crammed with tourists, so be ready. We find that the best hidden spots is to keep going. Even after you think it ends, it does not, and we found this beautiful scenic view. We just got to Arashiyama and we walked through the bamboo forest and we found this really scenic spot and it's beautiful. There's no one here, look. Nobody. It's literally just us two, and this is right at like the most touristy area in Kyoto. Yeah, all you have to do is just walk a little bit farther and you're there. And look at this view. Oh my god, it's crazy. Look at it. Oh my god, so beautiful. You're so high up on the mountain. Like, how do you go to Arashiyama? I've come here like twice before and I've never came here before. How do you miss this? We just found at the viewpoint that there's actually a train that you can take along the coast here. And these are the times here. So yeah, so the bamboo forest is right there. And then we're just up here. And it's not that far of a walk. If you just keep walking up a little bit from that other viewpoint, you can find this one, which you're a little bit closer to the water. Oh my god. There's a boat! Perfect. Love boats. We went for a mini hike down the mountain and came across this food area. There were no tourists here, only locals, and there was a stand selling popsicles and sweet potatoes. There is nothing more than getting lost in a forest, eating roasted sweet potatoes at a random stand that you found. We made our way back to the busy street of Arashiyama and we headed down to the stream. I love this part of Arashiyama. It is very busy and touristy, but there's a ton of people walking around in kimonos and a ton of shops and ice cream. We walked by this temple area with a massive garden and houses occupied by residents. Some areas you can visit, some areas are restricted. But boy, this was such a great scenic experience of all the gardens and monuments and shrines that Japanese people built in this area. It was not cherry blossom season yet, but we did find one tree that bloomed, so we got lucky. As you walk down the street, you will also come across Kimono Forest. It is known for its backlit cylinder pillars with kimono designs on top of it. We finally made it to the stream before sunset and we captured some good videos. There is something about just sitting there and just watching the water flow is just so relaxing. We stayed there for some time, watched the sunset, and then slowly made our way to the other side of the bridge. All I can say is that this was probably one of the most scenic walks that I've had. Beautiful blue waters paired with boats, and the nature around Kyoto is just beautiful and scenic. We saw a sign pointing to the monkey park, so we were curious and followed it. The monkey park was unfortunately closed for the day since it was late, but it was a really nice area to check out.
Look at the sign, it's so
We
cute.
walked for so long that we didn't even realize all the restaurants were closing down, so we ended up heading back home. There was a grocery store that's very close to our hotel, so we hopped in to see what we could buy for dinner. We hit the jackpot at the supermarket because there were so many options to choose from, ranging from hot, cold foods, and obviously the grocery staples. Everybody talks about going to 7-Eleven in Japan, but the grocery store is actually where it's at. The prices were amazing, and the food options were endless. You can get a full-size meal with rice, protein, and a salad on the side for only $6. And these sides that you see here were only $3 to $4 Canadian. Back at that hotel, we went to the grocery store, picked up some sashimi. This was $6. And then there's the tuna. This one was about $8. There's some squid. Kenneth got some cutlet with some rice and egg and ice cream on the side. I got some soup noodles. It's like a seafood soup noodle. There's croquette that we had from yesterday and onigiri. So this is our dinner for tonight. Good morning! It's our last day in Kyoto today and we're heading to Osaka right after this. We're heading back to hotel already, but we've had quite a morning. So we went to a ramen shop for some dipping noodles and we went to get some matcha from this cutest matcha shop. Oh my god. And we had like the most delicious pudding. It was so jello-y and soft and milky and matcha-y. I don't know, it was just so good. So stay tuned, we'll show you what we did this morning. The first step, we headed over to Gion, which is known for its clear mochi dessert in a traditional Japanese house. I knew we had to book in advance, but unfortunately we didn't, and I thought we could just give it a try, and it was all booked out for the whole day. Then along the way, we went to a Mom Dokuten, and also there was a massive lineup. This is known for their donuts. We didn't want to line up, so disappointed and sad, we ended up going to Mensho Takamatsu. They are known for their dipping noodles, so we had to try. There was a little lineup outside of the shop, but it didn't take too long for us to get seats. We went in, purchased our ramen from the machine, and then we sat down. Love that at most Japanese restaurants, they give you all the condiments that you can add unlimited. Okay, so here's the instructions to eat the noodles. And then here's the dipping ramen. That is the duck with rice, assorted eggs and meat and vegetables. And that's the rest of that. Just by looking at this duck, you can see how perfectly cooked this is. They slice the duck to perfection with half meat and some fat as well. This restaurant is a 20 out of 10. You must try this dipping ramen. The ramen had a al dente chewiness to it. The broth was very thick and coated the noodles perfectly. The broth had so much flavor and aroma to it. It was just a burst of flavor. You know it's good when they provide you instructions of how to eat it. First, you try the ramen with the broth on its own. Then you add green onion to it to provide that green onion flavor. Lastly, you add the dashi broth to the soup to drink the rest of it. Next, we headed over to this matcha shop again. And again, this was a must visit. It was a small old shop with traditional favorites like this soy glazed mochi with matcha ice cream and milk pudding. The mochi with ice cream was the most popular item on the menu, but we opted for the milk pudding. After a little wait after ordering, they call your number and you walk up to the counter and they show you how they make the matcha and pudding. Get your camera ready fast because they do this really quickly. I was wondering where the bubble waffles were on the menu, but they actually give it to you complimentary per person. Wow, I think this was probably the best matcha I've had in Kyoto. You can tell they use the highest quality ingredients and it's nothing like you tasted before. The milk pudding had the smoothest texture and it was melt in your mouth. If you're in Kyoto and did not try Totaru, you have missed out. After that, we went back to the hotel to grab our luggage and then we set foot for Osaka. You know the drill. Like, subscribe, and comment below if you have any questions for us, and we will see you next in Osaka.